into the live. But before we get into the live, let me show you some classic lowriders here, along with some horses and among other things. So let me show you some of these Cutlass right here. And right here, you got to check this one out right here. This one right here is the best. The best that the West has to offer. See? Oops. So the first 1 minute and 30 minutes of that, showing you guys a little bit of some low riders they got out here in Sacramento, old Sacramento to be exact. And there's probably more ahead. I want to reflect on what had happened last night. UFC 302, and then the boxing card for the Saudi Arabia event, 5-on-5 Matchroom versus Queensberry Promotions. It was an absolute blowout and an embarrassment, quite frankly, for Eddie Hearn. However, let's take a look at this one right here. See this one. So, like I said, an absolute embarrassment for Eddie Hearn's promotion. And then some are going to say now that it's been years that Eddie Hearn did not allow his fighters to do a competition like this, a 5-on-5 series, because he knew that Frank Warren knew how to pick the better guys and gave chances to guys with different pedigrees, sort of say. Not so much of the traditional Olympic route that, let's say, Anthony Joshua has taken, who, by the way, is a matchroom fighter. He was also present but did not compete that night. However, looked very disappointed along with Eddie Hearn. But I think it's safe to say, for everything that I know about Eddie Hearn, for everything that I know about Eddie Hearn, I know that he could bounce back from this. He's taken L's before, he's lost champions through fights and through contract negotiations. But the one thing that remains for Eddie Hearn is that he's going to have ups and downs. And just unfortunately, this is the biggest down of them all. Really, check out everybody here with their trucks. I told you guys I was going to show you some low riders for those of you that did not see early on. But I do have, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to show you again as we are going on. But in the first 1 minute and 30 minutes of the live content, I was showing you this, but let me show you now the low riders that we have out here in Sacramento. See? Once again. All right. So did you guys get a load of that lowrider or what? Huh? Welcome to the West Coast and a type of culture that we have here that may be a little bit different than anywhere else in the world. I'll tell you what's great about having a lowrider is that it shows Great to see you, brother. How have you been? Pretty good. Is it 5 p.m. there? Lenny, it is about to be 5:54, I believe. So 6 minutes to 6. So, anyways, as we talk about lowriders and I'm sorry, not South Sac, West Sac, or Old Sac rather, let's talk about what happened last night. First with the boxing, okay? So with the boxing side, one thing that I had noticed was it was devastating overall. Devastating for Eddie Hearn, but also, quite frankly, extremely devastating for the likes of, let's say, Deontay Wilder. All right, and then let me show you guys the Steamers Coffee Exchange here. This is where this place is, right here. And then this is where the Delta King area is at, along with the bridge. And yes, as I was showing you guys some low riders earlier as well, for those that have just been tapping in and whatnot. So, very tragic for Deontay Wilder. Lost that power KO. Maybe Wilder looked pretty bad. Awesome cars. All right, hiya, buddy. Awesome that you got to see them. Obviously, you can always watch and rewind to take a look at them, but nonetheless, uh, his lost his power, or is it maybe his aggression? I got to be honest with you, man. Power is not usually anything that leaves a person once they have it. I think what left Deontay Wilder was aggression. I joked and said that we need to have a Deontay Wilder that is the R word. In other words, the Black Power type of character that he once was when he was fighting Tyson Fury, going till this day, for those of you of knowing the implications of the meaning of that. Nonetheless, what we have going on is a Deontay Wilder that's a little bit more tamed, a little bit more chill, and quite frankly, I think that may be detrimental to his fighting style because he's not a technical fighter. I'm going to be honest with you. Is it okay for Deontay Wilder to be a peaceful fighter if he is a technical fighter? Yes. The problem is he's not a technical fighter. So him being peaceful does not lend him to being a good fighter. There are guys that can live a peaceful, hippie, DMT smoking, ayahuasca life and still function as a professional fighter when by points use their technicality, use their pragmatic judgment in order for them to get through the goals that they need in their particular fight or whatever challenges that are ahead of them, depending on the different styles that is in front of them. What with Deontay Wilder, he relies on motivation of aggression. And because of this ayahuasca trip, now he doesn't have that. And that's what's very unfortunate. I got to be honest with you, right? The older that you get, there's a certain level of maintenance that you have to achieve. And sometimes even way more than what you would have expected from the very beginning. Meaning that, I'll give you an example. Let's take a look at these low riders again since I'm passing by them, right? So check out these low riders, okay? And then also check out all these restaurants that are in front of you, and also, okay, now you're seeing it from a different side, okay? All right, so there we go. So now, what I'm going to explain to you about the lowriders is that they take very high maintenance to achieve longevity. Now, why is that? I'm going to tell you it is because of the fact that you are dealing with a machine that is old, that needs maintenance and that has been around the block, but you put hydraulics on it. Oh, and just like these Cutlass right here, how about this? Right here, the Oldsmobile. They got some low riders in them as well. So the older it is, the more maintenance that you need. And now Deontay Wilder is 38. He needs to try something new. So before, with these Cadillacs and these Oldsmobiles and all these Cutlass cars, prior to that, they didn't have hydraulics, right? So now adding hydraulics into it, I'm going to be honest with you guys, sometimes maintaining those types of lowriders can be up to $500,000. Just being honest, $500,000, if you really want me to put that in perspective. So with that $500,000 of maintaining that lowrider, because it's an old car, and then adding modifications to it, you add a new flair to the car. Because like I said, in the 1960s, when that car was made, it didn't have hydraulics or 20-inch rims or anything like that. And speaking of which, let me show you another one right here. Check this out. See? Oh, look, and it's got the Freddy Krueger symbol to it. See? See, here we are. Sacramento at its best. See? Right here. So there you go. You need more maintenance the older that you get. And it seems that Deontay Wilder, instead of adding to his team and his repertoire, he decided to just go and subtract. He got rid of Jay Diaz. He got rid of his old trainer. What was his name? Garland, I think. Yeah, he was a former Olympic boxer, African American brother that used to train Deontay Wilder. He let him go. He believed that he was somehow setting him up or whatever weird paranoia that Deontay Wilder had going on. And look, check this out. Where's some horses right here? Live horses right in front of you guys. See? All right. So that's what you have going on. And how about this? A little Ferris wheel that we have going on right here. See? A little Ferris wheel. All right. Check that out. The scene of Sacramento. So back to um, that's about probably the last time I'm going to make that round. So now I'm going to just talk straight into UFC and then finish off with the boxing side, right? So how about Hamza Shiraz? Obviously, for those of you that don't know, I collaborate a lot with one of Hamza Shiraz's media team members, which is Zain Musa Boxing. He joined me in the live stream that I did with literally the entire card all the way to the, well, he didn't join me in the entire card, but somewhere mid card, I had invited him in and he joined and contributed to my show. So I urge you guys to check out his brand for Zain Musa Boxing Dosage. But nonetheless, here I am, right? Uh, Talking about this with you, witnessing the win of one of his teammates, and on top of that, covering UFC 302 with a bunch of crazy results as well. There was Hamza Shiraz, there was Nick Ball, who had won, and then who else was in that fight? Herkovich had lost to Dubois. That was a surprise. But then again, not really. Because if you look at the breakdown that I did, there's a reason why I had picked Dubois. Because I knew that you couldn't sleep on Dubois. Look at this. It's people on their jet skis and whatnot. Now here we are in the bridge of Sacramento. So if you guys want to check out the lowriders, rewind from the very beginning. And somewhere in the mid part of the stream, obviously, I have all of the low riders for you guys to check out. But for now, we are talking about UFC 302, but now just finishing off with a 5-on-5 boxing card. So Herkovich lost to Dubois. Basically, all the matchroom fighters had lost. And that's just the name of the game. Sometimes you win some and you lose some. And quite frankly, on the MMA side, this is a reason why Dana White would never entertain anything like this. Nor would the Saudis ever ask Dana White to do that, because I'll tell you, part of their business contract probably relies on, hey, you know what? Let's not mix up all the organizations, or maybe you never know. You never know what you never know what kind of stipulations the Saudis and the UFC are going to have together. But one thing, rest assured, is that what we saw with the 5-on-5 series was a culmination and an understanding that sometimes the best fighters are not always Olympic caliber. Sometimes they're not the ones with the biggest marketing behind them, the way that you have with Anthony Joshua and other matchroom fighters. And sometimes it's not really about just the superficial things when it comes to the promotional side of boxing. Also, you got to understand one thing. Frank Warren understands tough men because he is a real tough guy himself. You want to know why? He got shot. The guy that shot him got shot. And you got to just go and add and put that together. Go check out this little barn that we have right here in West Sacramento now. See? Barn they have in West Sacramento. All right. So here's something you got to understand also about the blowout between Queensberry Promotions and Matchroom Boxing. This was the only 5-on-5 that you could really pick out of your roster. It's not like he picked Canelo or had these other bigger names. And then you also got to take into consideration Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev did not fight each other, which, by the way, really mattered the most because it would have altered how this whole entire matchup and scoring looked like. Speaking of scoring, how about the atrocious scoring from the Paulo Costa fight? One judge gave him 49-46 to his favor. I mean, that's absolutely insane, to be quite honest with you. How do you even fathom a scorecard like that? How do you even justify something like that? But nonetheless, there were a lot of people that complained about Sean Strickland's lack of aggression going into that fight. And for those of you that don't like that, I got to be honest with you, you don't understand fighting. The reason why you don't understand fighting is because of the fact that you think exciting, superficial type of fights where two guys are brawling with each other and killing each other is the way to go. But there's other ways in terms of being defensive, in terms of being very careful, and quite frankly, when you're in war, the most important thing you want to achieve is coming home safely. And that's exactly what Sean Strickland did. So as a result, you have to understand that is how professional fighters have to maintain their long-term health. And you can't fault Sean Strickland for fighting the way that he did. And he fought brilliantly. For those that train and for those that compete can appreciate what Sean Strickland did. But if you're not one of those and you're a casual fan, well, this is what I got to say to you. Understand that the unpredictability of combat sports is what you pay for. So in other words, are there going to be magical moments like Michael Bisping knocking out Luke Rockhold after spending his entire 2 months filming in Toronto with Vin Diesel, and then only to get called a couple of weeks later to fight Luke Rockhold in a rematch in which he lost, but ended up getting the UFC is a joke at this point. Well, I wonder why you say that, KL. I don't know what is your reasoning to say that it's a joke at this point. Are you pointing in what particular direction? Is it because there's a lot of champions that, let's say, are highly technical in the point that, let's say, it's boring to, let's say, the casual observers? For example, there's a lot of people that are going to criticize Islam Makhachev for just holding you down, just like there's going to be people that's going to criticize Leon Edwards for fighting in that same similar fashion that Sean Strickland fights in. Now, when it comes to the main event, that didn't happen in terms of having a Michael Bisping moment, of having a fairy tale ending. And that is exactly what I mean when I say that that is what you pay for. You pay for the unexpected result, all. So KI says all, or KL on the chat says all of it. So pretty much the boring part, also the part that there's a Conor McGregor fight against Michael Chandler that's going to make a lot of money. But I suppose if you're a hardcore fan, you're not going to be a real big fan of that. And who else is in that card? Obviously, Carlos Ulberg. Fix fights. KL says fix fights. The guy on the chat that just typed to me right now said that it's fixed fights. You're wrong. And let me tell you why you're wrong. Because you've probably never competed before. And therefore, you don't understand that somebody like Dustin Poirier would never succumb to allowing himself to be part of a fixed fight, let alone allow himself to get beat up just to have his pride taken in front of the world. You don't understand that about fighters if you don't train, and that's just me saying that very respectfully. But Islam Makhachev really is made for this game in more ways than one, and you guys got to understand that. He has trained for several years with Abdul Manap, and not only that, he's been under the tutelage of Khabib while he was a training partner, while transitioning into a coach. So you can only imagine the benefits that he had reaped from not only Abdul Manap before he passed away, may Allah accept him, but also the knowledge that he had picked up as a training partner and transitioning as a coach in Khabib's transition from fighter to coach. And this is a reason why he looks unstoppable. And I told you guys on the preview, I urge you guys to really watch the other videos prior to these fights, right? In terms of the preview, the prediction, the full card prediction that I did, and then also the live stream, how I broke these fights down. I said that Islam was going to have the better boxing. Why? Why did I say that Islam was going to have the better boxing in the lead up to the fight? Because I knew that Islam was a very adaptable fighter. And as adaptable as he is, well, quite frankly, it is the reason why he was able to bust up Dustin Poirier in his face, not only in ground and pound positions, but mainly in the boxing side of things, but also on the Muay Thai side of things. By the way, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe as I drive this home into the final moments of this live stream. So I'm going to continue on with Islam Makhachev for now for a second, okay? So Islam Makhachev is the best 155er in the world right now. And not only that, he has the record to prove it. In other words, he's already in the 14 win streak, third best of all time behind Kamaru Usman and Anderson Silva. Islam Makhachev is on a completely different career trajectory than Khabib. And he's also talking about going to 170 to become a double champion. And then Dana White made an argument saying that John Jones was the best pound for pound. And by the way, look out for that. I'm going to do a video regarding that subject matter at hand. In other words, I'm going to talk about why Dana White was so harsh in defending John Jones as the pound for pound #1 guy. And I got to tell you, he deserves it to be the #1 pound for pound guy. But obviously, I'm going to make a video about it, but I'm going to start it with this. Make you guys understand that just because John Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall, it doesn't mean that it null and voids all of his other accomplishments past prior. So please understand that. But other than that, that's all that I really got for you guys right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Watch from beginning to end. And I will see you guys in the next coming streams and videos to come. Inshallah.